If you're looking to save time, skip a step, and still get a smooth, flawless finish on your cakes, then you might want to stop crumb coating. Most of the time, we're taught that you need to crumb coat your cake first, let it chill, and then go in with the final coat, and that is a tried and true, perfectly acceptable way to do it, but it's not the only way, and maybe it's not the best way for you. Like this cake right here that was iced without a crumb coat. Today, I'm going to show you the method that I learned when working in a grocery store bakery where efficiency mattered and we needed to decorate cakes quickly without sacrificing the final result. Let's run over what tools you're going to need. It's a short list. Obviously, you're going to want a cake turntable, some buttercream in a piping bag. I like to use mine with a coupler, but it's not necessary. Then typically just one cake scraper. The size that you'll want will depend on how tall your cake is. Then you'll also need something to level your cakes if they didn't bake up completely flat, and that could be as simple as a serrated knife that you already have on hand, or it could be a cake leveler. And finally, on this day, I also used an offset spatula because I'm working with a loose fruit preserve filling, but it's not always a necessity. So first we need to prepare our cake layers by getting them nice and level, and you can do this a couple ways. Either take that serrated knife, hold it completely flat and make sure it stays that way throughout the whole process, and gently work your way, cutting all the way across the cake. I like to hold the knife pretty still and let the turntable do most of the work, but you could also do this right on the countertop. Or you can use a cake leveler. I'm just using a cheap one here, but you can adjust it to whatever height you need, hold your cake in place, and then slide the leveler across. And this is going to give you just a little extra assurance that your layers will be level. It's also going to be very important that when we start stacking, we're working with chilled cake layers. A chilled cake is much firmer and less likely to shed crumbs into your frosting, but it also makes stacking and icing easier because the filling starts solidifying as you stack, and then the layers aren't shifting around all over the place while you're working. Now we need to prepare our cake board simply by piping a ring of buttercream onto the center. This is going to adhere the cake to the board and also keep it from sliding around. Then place your first layer on, pressing down onto it so that it's fully adhered. Also, check that your cake is centered on the board and adjust it if necessary. Now I'm getting started making a buttercream dam, and this is what keeps your loose fillings like fruit preserves, curds, etc. from leaking out and making a mess of your iced cake. Depending on how much filling you want to add, you can either do one ring of buttercream here or two. If you're a beginner, I would recommend starting with one just to avoid any potential bulging issues. Once your rings are piped on, take your offset spatula and you're going to do little swipes down on the inside edge of your dam, working your way all the way around. This helps create a seal, and then go ahead and add your filling. Now, I'm using raspberry preserves today, which is why we need the dam, but if you're just using buttercream or something sturdy as your filling, then you do not need a dam. I would just start piping the first outside ring like we did for the dam, but keep piping rings all the way in until the top of your cake layer is completely covered. Now I'm ready to add on my next layer, so I'm carefully placing it on and just gently pressing it in place. Now I like to take a step back and check and make sure that it is centered on top of that first layer and adjust it if I need to. Since this cake will be 3 layers, I'm going to add another layer of filling the exact same way that I did the first time. First going in and piping the rings for our buttercream dam, doing those little downward swipe motions to make our seal, and then adding in the filling. Another reason that I think this icing technique is great is because by skipping the crumb coat, you're not just skipping the step of spreading that first layer of icing onto the cake, but you're also skipping the chilling time necessary before adding your final coat on. And you're also wasting less icing from swiping off all that excess on the first coat that might now have crumbs in it. But anyway, back to stacking. When you're adding that last layer of cake on, you want to put it on upside down because this bottom side is totally flat and its edges are perfect. And again, always stepping back and checking that they're stacked straight on top of each other. And I don't usually do this part, but I'm going to go around and spread those lips of buttercream into my cake a little bit just so that it's more flush. Now we can get started icing. The key to this technique and why it works so well is that we're not touching or disturbing the crumbs at all. We're going to pipe our icing on, starting at the bottom of your cake and getting that first loop around of icing to just touch the bottom of your cake board. That'll help prevent there being any gaps down there later on. Now, as you pipe, you want to keep the piping tip close enough to the cake so that the icing adheres well, but not so close that the tip is actually touching the cake or disturbing the crumbs. Here's an example of what that might look like. It's really not that bad, but still not ideal. But you can see how the icing isn't piping on clean anymore and its edges are kind of flaring out, and it also is disturbing the crumbs a little bit. That's also why you want to squeeze the piping bag with firm pressure, but not so much so that you're losing control of the flow of icing. And the larger the hole that you cut into your piping icing bag, if you're not using a coupler, the more icing will come out as you squeeze. So you want it to be kind of just a good mid-size. Now, in order to get a smooth finish, you need to pipe on more icing than we actually need because we'll be scraping some away. But keep on piping until the sides are fully covered and then do the exact same thing on the top, working your way in. We're going to start by smoothing the top of the cake first. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect because we will come back and scrape it again, but I do want it to be nice, flat, and even. You can use an offset spatula for smoothing the top part out. I prefer to use a cake scraper, but either way, we're just using very gentle pressure, not pushing down much at all, and spinning the turntable to do most of the work. This scraper is going to be just too short for the sides of my cake, and this scraper is technically a little too tall, but it's what we're using. So to smooth the sides of the cake, hold your scraper steady and start spinning the turntable around and around and around. The amount of pressure that you use and the angle that you hold your scraper at matters. So the wider the angle or the more perpendicular that your scraper is to the cake, the more icing it's going to remove. A slightly wider angle is okay toward the beginning of the smoothing process, but we never want to take off too much in one pass. Then as we get closer to our final sweeps, we'll want to keep our scraper closer to the cake. Another important thing to remember is that you want the bottom of your scraper to sit flush against the cake board. Holding it tilted up or down will result in the sides of your cake being angled instead of straight. This would be a time that if you find any gaps in your icing to go ahead and just fill them in. And you can use this method with any type of buttercream, but obviously you want it to be the correct consistency and texture so that it's easier to work with. If you'd like my free buttercream troubleshooting guide, I'll link it below. It covers things like split buttercream, air bubbles, consistency problems, and quick fixes for each. Now, once your cake is pretty much smooth and we're ready for the final pass, we're going to reach our arm all the way around the turntable so that we can get a full rotation without stopping. That's going to keep your cake from looking like it has multiple stopping points or indents from the scraper. Now we can use one fluid motion and are only applying gentle pressure, and typically going slower with your turn will result in a smoother finish. As you get to the end of your rotation, you want to gently and gradually pull your scraper away. That's going to make your ending point less harsh. If you still aren't happy with where your cake is at this point, reach around and give it another pass. You can do it as many times as you want, as long as there's still enough icing on your cake. As you can see, there are some pesky air bubbles in this frosting, so I'm going to hold my scraper under hot water and then go in for another pass, and the heat should release those air bubbles. Then we're ready to move back up and finish off the top. There's multiple ways to do this, especially if you want really sharp edges, but I'll show you the simplest way today. You're going to want to hold your scraper at an angle like this, starting just past the edge of the cake so that we can grab that excess icing and gently pull it in. We're just barely pressing down. I would say it's more of the pulling in motion that we're relying on to smooth. Then as you're pulling in, as you start approaching the center of the cake, start to gently lift your scraper away. It should be gradual. Use this process to work your way all around the lip of the cake, and then if there's any spots that still look a little high or just need to be smoother, you can go back in and hit them again. And the good news is, when you're decorating, if you're doing a border around the top of the cake, then super sharp, perfect edges aren't as important because they're just going to get covered up anyway. And that's it. No crumb coat, no extra waiting, and no unnecessary steps. And remember, smooth cakes aren't about fancy tools or perfect hands. It's all about practice and repetition. So every cake is going to get a little bit easier and a little bit better. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.